Well, it never dawned on me that most of you probably have no idea how we even feed him. I know we mentioned NG tube and G tube before, but my brother actually last night I was explaining it to him, and I don't know why I just figured everybody knew, but that would actually make no sense. So I'm gonna attempt to show you exactly how we go about feeding Finnegan here. I'm holding him right now because as soon as we put him down, he's fussy. He just has his many moments of just wanting to be held at all times. So it gets a little much, but we're trying, right, buddy? Right. He's this noisy breathing right now, so means he was upset a little bit ago. But what we're gonna do is feed him and through the NG tube here, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But we'll kind of go about the process of showing you what we do here and everything. Formula's already mixed. Tube here, which I'll show you here in a little bit. Not going to go through that much, but kind of just show you the process, which it starts off as if it was no different from bottle feeding, and then it just completely takes a turn after that. So here we go. Let's attempt to do this. Alright, I put him down for a little bit, but I don't think that's going to last much longer. Again, he wants to be held at all times, but not feasible, as I'm sure most of you parents out there know. So this is just a regular bottle warmer and a little bit of water that we go to put in here. So this will help warm the bottle. So this goes in here, and then we're going to measure out the amount of formula. So right now, with all his spitting up, we're pretty much doing around 120, 130. So let's see here. Do about that. Pop this in, turn it on, and that thing heats up pretty quickly, so it will get warm in about 1 to 2 minutes. In the meantime, we have to also get his extension ready. So this is what it looks like, and this is what gets plugged into the, he has what's called a mini button. So this goes into the G-tube, or the mini button on his stomach, and then it locks in place. And then we have a clamp here, so it doesn't, his stomach acid and anything else in the stomach doesn't come out. So we typically will have that clamped, and then 2 openings here, one for the feeding bag to go into, another one for any syringes as far as flushing and medicines go. So I'll show you how those work here momentarily. So typically when you hook this up, you don't want any air in here, so you want to fill it up either with the milk ahead of time with the formula, or sometimes we'll just go ahead and put a flush in. So here's one of the syringes, just a plastic syringe. Go ahead and get some water, fill that up. I'm sure you can hear Finnegan. It's coming, buddy, hold on. So now with this, I'd already clamped it from before, but we want to obviously take that off and then close this top so no liquid comes out. Go ahead, put the syringe inside here, and then I'll just go ahead and squeeze until water fills it up and comes out. And then I'll go ahead and clamp it, pull this out, and now there's water in here, so there's no air. So when we actually start feeding him, you're not going to put air into him, which will obviously make him upset, burp, and with his history, most likely spit up. Alright, so now with the G-tube, which we have right here, we have some gauze there, which is just protecting the hole in which is in his stomach, but we pop this open. It's almost like a beach ball, like you're about to blow up. You pop that open, and then that piece from before that has the locking mechanism, you just go ahead, here you go, buddy. There you go. And here, move your hand. You have to push this in. You have to hold this down, otherwise you're literally pushing into his stomach. And then you'll kind of hear it click which you probably didn't, and then I'll turn it, which will lock it in place. So now this is locked, and this is where he'll start to get his food from. I'll go ahead and do that here in a little bit. Hopefully he'll start to calm down. All right, so now that the formula is filled up, here's one of the bags. We use one of these a day. Just kind of wash it out with really hot water. In between, you don't use soap or anything. But go ahead and just kind of pull this open so the milk doesn't just sit in there. And I will go ahead and pour it in. So again, this is about 125, 130 milliliters. Now, I kind of treat it like an icing bag to get the air out, so I'll squeeze, and then I'll go ahead and put the lid on top. Now, this entire tubing has air in it, so we need to get rid of that too. So you have to prime it. You could use the machine to prime it, but there's actually, this is what goes into the pump. There's a little area here in which you could hold down and it'll help prime, but you have to kind of squeeze this as well at the same time. So when I do this and squeeze this part to open up the valve and squeeze the bag, you'll start to see the milk kind of go through. You'll see the water dripping out, any residual water. Keep doing this until the formula comes out. There we go, now the formula is out, so now the whole pipe or the whole tubing is primed, so that way there's no air in the tube now. So then this will get hooked up directly to the extension that we showed earlier. Alright, but the next thing that we have to do is actually go ahead and hook the bag up to the pump. So this is the pump. I'll go ahead and turn that on momentarily. This piece goes around this. This is what actually pumps the liquid in. And then this locks into place by dropping down. Make sure the two tubes are coming out and push it down. So the rate that we have it set is a little over an hour now because he's been spitting up quite a bit. So we have it set to 130 milliliters for the hour, and no, it looks like it's set for, oh yeah, I'm sorry. So it's just a full hour. So 130 and 130 means this is the dose. That's how much is in the bag, and then how much per hour, we want the entire bag. So if we up this, we could either speed it up or slow it down by depending on how much, you know, what number we actually put here. Alright, so now we have this hook, so the bag goes on here to keep it as level as possible. Depending, sometimes we have to change it up, but that should be alright. And we have the pump here, we have the extension, so this is what will go ahead and actually go into the... Sorry, this is what will go into the extension here. So, we look for that, which is right here. I'll go ahead and make sure that this is closed. If not, because he's upset, any stomach acid, the water in here will all start to come out of this, and it's happened before. It shoots out like a geyser sometimes. So we'll pop this open. And with that popped open, we'll just go ahead and place the pump in here. So here we go. Just put this into here. That gets put in there, and then you have to remember to unclamp it, otherwise all this pressure will build up. And then we can go ahead and start the pump. You do that just by going ahead and hitting run. And then that starts to move it, so you'll see here, once it actually starts moving, because of the way it's set, it'll kind of bounce back and forth for a little bit, and it's not continuous, so the pump will pump in a little bit and it stops. Pumps in a little bit more, it just does what it needs to, because the pump only spins at one rate, if you will, so it does what it needs to make sure that the whole 130 is filled in for that hour. Finnegan, come on, buddy. And this is pretty much every day, every 3 hours. Not just the feeding, but his crankiness as well. You can see the formula now going up. And that is pretty much how he's fed. Once he's done, we'll go ahead and flush the pipe or the tubing here. That way it pushes all the formula out. That way there's no residual formula sitting in the mini button either. Alright, so with the feed done, as mentioned before, we have to flush it then. So we bring this out, go ahead and clamp it. So we can pull this out, close this top, open this up, put the syringe of water in, go ahead and open this again. And then not too fast, but go ahead and push, it'll push all the formula through. That way it'll just be water in here. Go ahead and clamp again, pull this out, close this up, and then we could go ahead and remove the extension. So just go ahead and turn this, pop it off, close that back up, zip them up so it covers it up. That's what goes into feeding them. It's how we do the medications as well. Again, with the syringe, the medication would just go in with the syringe to this side. And then anytime you put anything through, you always want to flush it with water as well. So this is primarily what we use with this G-tube. Then finally, to clean everything up, we just go ahead, open up the valve, or open up the stopper valve. And then when you open this up, the pressure will release and let that out. And then hot water. Go ahead and rinse that out. That'll air dry. And then with the bag too, I'm gonna fill that up. Again, you don't use soap, that'll get stuck in there. So really hot water, just kind of rinse it out a little bit first. And then I'll fill it up so that way there's a lot of pressure behind it. Again, this is pretty scalding hot water. And I have a screw that I hook this up to. So the bag's up there now, so gravity. And I'll go ahead and use the this piece again, as mentioned before. And that'll help me run the water through, which will go ahead and push all the formula through. And eventually you'll see the formula disappear and the white within the tubing will start to run clear with just the water. So pretty much just let it go until most of it's there. That's pretty good there. So then dump this out. Then you want to try to get most of the water out, so go ahead and open this up again. Run the water out. That way the majority of the tube will be clear. Sometimes some residual water will be let in there, but that's okay too. That's the whole process from beginning to end with feeding him, giving him medication, anything like that. So yeah, in the car, things like, it's a pain, I'm not gonna lie. It's ridiculous at times, but it's how our Finnegan is taken care of right now. Hopefully things will start to get better as the months and weeks go on. Finally calm, buddy.